So this is the Poco X3 and this is the Poco X3 Pro. Now, I don't know about you guys, but when I hear the Pro added to a name, I immediately think of it as the more specced out, faster, and basically overall better device. But that's not true here. Not entirely at least. Now, I'm gonna get to all that, but first, let's jump into the unboxing. Stealthy black box, branding in the signature Poco yellow. Overall, the box here looks very similar to the previous Poco X3. We even have the Reality Flow 120Hz written to the sides. There's an MRP sticker to the bottom, and of course, the spec highlights to the back. Seems like we have the 8128GB variant in the graphite black colorway. Seals on either side, slicing through them, and off comes the top. The yellow insert comes with a handy dandy pull tab. Inside are the usual suspects: SIM ejector pin, paperwork, and a clear soft case. But that's not what we are here for. Here's the real star of the show, the Poco X3 Pro. This, for me, is the best part of any unboxing. Now, first impressions, feels heavy, and the back seems to have a dual tone finish. We'll come back to the phone in a bit, but first, let's check out the other accessories. A Type-C cable and a 33-watt fast charger, both with orange accents. By the way guys, I'm your host Omurto, and if you have been enjoying this video thus far, then please consider subscribing to C4E Tech and hitting that bell icon. It really does help us out a lot. The boxes look similar and so do the phones, but the X3 Pro promises to fix one of the biggest problems that we had with the X2 and the X3, the micro stutters. Inside the device, we have a 7nm Snapdragon 860. Functionally, this is the same chip as the Snapdragon 855 Plus from 2018. So still a flagship chip, but the numbers and performance, it won't be as good as say the Snapdragon 888 or 870 from this year, or even last year's 865 for that matter. And yeah, there's no 5G either. But honestly, all of that doesn't really matter because the 860, it's fast enough. And we'll have to test it out more, but initial impressions, the UI felt smooth, no frame drops. Even in demanding games like Call of Duty Mobile, this is with max frame rate and very high graphics, smooth panning without any of that jankiness. The Adreno 640 outclasses the Adreno 618 by a fair margin. So if you're a mobile gamer, then definitely go for the X3 Pro. It even comes with the faster UFS 3.1 storage, so we should see quicker app loading times here. This time round, we only get two variants, 6 or 8 gigs of LPDDR4X RAM and 128 gigs of storage. The hybrid SIM slot does provide expansion capabilities, but like the X3, it comes at the cost of the second SIM slot. So performance on the X3 Pro looks great. A powerful 8 series chip, new liquid cooled technology to keep the temps under control, not to mention the faster storage. Now I'd love to say that with the faster new chip comes a bigger battery, but unfortunately the battery capacity this time has actually gone down by 16%. To be fair, the X3 with its 6000 mAh battery refused to die in a day. So based off of that, I'm expecting good things from the X3 Pro as well. As far as charging speeds go, we have the same 33-watt fast charger bundled with the device. So quick top-ups shouldn't really be an issue. The downgrade list though doesn't stop there. The X3 Pro retains a quad camera setup to the back. But the 64 megapixel primary snapper of the X3 has been swapped out for a 48 megapixel one, albeit with a wider f1.8 aperture. Now, megapixels aren't the be all and end all when it comes to image quality. And to its credit, the X3 Pro does take some crisp looking shots. Zooming in, we can see clearly the name of this building. Switching to 48 megapixel yields even more detail. Take this bike engine for example. And it's not just this sharpness, the dynamic range is on point too. Take a look at the sunset. And even after dark, the night mode managed some good looking shots. It's not just the primary though, even the ultra wide on the X3 Pro has taken a hit from 13 to just 8 megapixels. And we can see that clearly in these snaps. Even under good lighting, the photos look murky. Now, I'd have loved to show you guys a side by side of the shots captured by the X3 and the X3 Pro, but thanks to a split embargo, I can't really do that. But I think in this case, the spec sheet tells the story well enough. Of course, we have the regular 2 megapixel add-ons, macro and depth, and these seem to have carried over from the Poco X3. Same goes for the 20 megapixel selfie shooter as well. Comes with an f2.2 aperture and for the most part takes decent selfies. Natural skin tones, we can zoom in and see the details on the subject's face, and the background isn't blown out either. Now, it isn't just the selfie snapper that these two phones have in common. It's actually the entire front panel. 6.67 inches, Full HD+, IPS LCD, and of course 120Hz. And while it's no 120Hz AMOLED panel, it does get the job done. The Snapdragon 860 keeps pumping out frames, and the 240Hz touch sampling rate gives MIUI 12 that silky smooth touch. The high-res audio certified stereo speakers make a return as well. So if you're okay with LCD, the X3 Pro should keep up with all your media viewing needs. To their credit, Poco has stepped up their production here. We have Corning Gorilla Glass 6 instead of Gorilla Glass 5. The back though is still polycarbonate, and thanks to a smaller battery, the weight has actually gone down by around 12 grams. Honestly though, I didn't feel it. At 213 grams, the X3 Pro is still heavy, and I'd rather have a bigger battery than a slightly slimmer and lighter device. I mean, ergonomics have never been the highlight here. This is still very much a two-handed phone. They have tweaked the design a little bit. I like the matte finish on the back, makes it easier to grip. The button placement remained the same. Like last time, the fingerprint scanner is built into the power button. Volume keys are above that, both to the right hand side, while the left holds the hybrid SIM slot. The IR blaster has been retained, same goes for the headphone jack and the IP53 splash resistance as well. And to no one's surprise, we have the very same MIUI 12. This is MIUI for Poco though, so no display ads. And the cherry on top is that the X3 Pro is running on Android 11 right out of the box. Basically, the Poco X3 Pro isn't so much of a pro. I mean, sure, the performance is pro level, but the rest is basically the same device. In fact, cameras and battery capacity are actually a downgrade from the X3. And I guess that kind of reflect in the price as well. The X3 Pro starts at 19,000 rupees, same price as the Redmi Note 10 Pro Max. So that's just 2,000 rupees above the original X3. The question then becomes, is the Poco X3 Pro the phone that we have all been waiting for? Is this the device that's gonna succeed the Poco F1? Or has Poco cut too many corners here? Well, honestly, that's something I can only say after my full review. By the way, that's coming soon, so subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. But for the meantime, I would like to know what you guys think about the Poco X3 Pro. So do tell me in the comments down below. And with that, we come to the end of this video. As always, like, share, subscribe, and turn on notifications by hitting that bell icon if you haven't yet. Thanks a lot for watching till the end, guys. Have a good one. Cheers.